7-year-old Zara Okafor pressed her small hand against the cold metal bars of the observation deck, watching the massive creature writhe in its containment field below. The Draconis entity, as the scientists called it, stood 12 feet tall, its obsidian scales rippling with bioluminescent patterns that pulsed like a dying star. 4 arms ending in razor-sharp talons scraped futilely against the energy barriers that held it prisoner. "Mama, why is it so sad?" Zara whispered to Dr. Amara Okafor, who was reviewing data on her tablet while keeping one eye on her daughter. "It's not sad, sweetheart. It's dangerous," Amara replied absently. "That creature destroyed 3 colony ships before we managed to capture it. 40,000 people died." But Zara could see something in the creature's luminescent purple eyes that the adults couldn't or wouldn't. Pain, confusion, desperate loneliness that resonated with something deep in her 7-year-old heart. The Meridian Research Station orbited the gas giant Kepler 438b, humanity's most advanced xenobiology facility. For 6 months, teams of scientists had studied the entity, trying to understand how a single organism could generate enough energy to tear through starship hulls like paper. What they had discovered defied conventional physics. The creature existed partially outside normal spacetime, its consciousness spanning multiple dimensional layers simultaneously. Its attacks on human ships weren't predatory. They were attempts at communication that humanity's 3-dimensional minds couldn't comprehend. Dr. Okafor called Director Hassan from across the observation deck. "The entity's bioelectric patterns are spiking again. We need your analysis on the quantum resonance data." Amara sighed, looking down at Zara. "Stay right here, baby. Don't move from this spot." As her mother joined the cluster of scientists around the main console, Zara pressed closer to the observation window. The entity had stopped its futile struggling and was staring directly at her. Its bioluminescent patterns shifted to softer blues and greens, creating spiraling mandala designs across its massive frame. The maintenance hatch beside the observation deck had been left slightly ajar, a security oversight that would later be investigated by 3 separate oversight committees. Zara, driven by an instinct she couldn't name, slipped through the narrow opening. The entity's containment chamber was vast, its walls lined with quantum field generators that created a prison of pure energy. Zara emerged from a ventilation grate near the floor, her small size allowing her to bypass sensors designed to detect adult-sized intruders. The creature turned toward her, its movements suddenly fluid and graceful, rather than the violent thrashing the scientists had documented. It lowered itself to what might have been a crouch, bringing its massive head closer to her level. "Hello," Zara said simply, the way she might greet a neighbor's dog. The entity's response was a harmonic vibration that bypassed her ears entirely, resonating directly through her bones. But somehow, impossibly, she understood. Lost child, far from the singing place, cannot find the harmony. The concepts appeared in her mind, not as words but as pure understanding. The entity wasn't a monster. It was a baby, separated from its pod during some cosmic event that had scattered its family across dimensional boundaries. Zara took a step forward, her small hand extended. "It's okay. I'm lost sometimes too." Small Spark understands. How does flesh mind touch the deep song? "I don't know," Zara admitted. "But you're hurt. I can feel it." The entity extended one of its massive talons, a curved blade of organic crystal that could slice through titanium. In the observation deck above, alarms began to wail as scientists realized the containment chamber had been breached. Zara reached out and gently touched the tip of the talon with her index finger. The universe exploded into song. Suddenly, Zara's consciousness expanded beyond the confines of her small human brain. She saw /felt/, experienced the entity's true nature, a being of living music that existed across 17 different dimensional frequencies simultaneously. Its species, the harmonics, were gardeners of space-time itself, their songs maintaining the quantum stability that allowed matter to exist in coherent forms. But more than that, she understood why the entity had attacked human ships. Humanity's faster-than-light drives created discordant vibrations in the cosmic symphony, tears in the fabric of reality that caused physical pain to any harmonic within light years. The entity had been trying to stop the ships, not out of malice, but in the same way a human might swat at a mosquito buzzing near their ear. Through their connection, Zara felt the entity's amazement. No purely physical being had ever been able to perceive the deep song before. Her young, unformed mind was somehow naturally compatible with multidimensional consciousness in a way that adult brains, locked into linear thinking patterns, could never achieve. "I can hear it," Zara whispered, tears streaming down her face as she perceived the fundamental music underlying reality. "It's so beautiful. The small spark sings true." But how? The flesh minds cannot touch the harmony. Through their link, Zara shared human experiences the way babies learned language, not through logic, but through pure pattern recognition, how children naturally accepted impossibilities that adults rejected. She showed the entity humanity's own music, the mathematical relationships in Bach's compositions, the emotional resonance of her mother's lullabies. The entity's bioluminescent patterns shifted to brilliant gold as understanding dawned. Humans weren't just noisemakers disrupting the cosmic song, they were potential singers themselves, their brains capable of learning harmony if approached correctly. Security teams burst into the containment chamber, energy weapons raised, just as the entity began to sing. The sound was unlike anything in human experience frequencies that existed in dimensions beyond the normal spectrum, harmonics that rewrote the quantum state of matter itself. But instead of the destructive discord that had torn apart starships, this was music of impossible beauty. Everyone in the chamber froze, not from fear, but from wonder. The entity's song rewrote their perception of reality, opening neural pathways that evolution had never intended. For the first time in human history, an entire species heard the cosmic symphony that underlay existence. In the observation deck above, monitoring equipment registered impossible readings. The entity's song was propagating through quantum foam, spreading faster than light to every corner of human space. On Earth, children stopped playing to listen to music only they could hear. On distant colonies, artists suddenly understood mathematical relationships that had eluded them for centuries. But the greatest change occurred in humanity's starships. As the song reached them, their FTL drives automatically recalibrated, their crude space-time manipulation evolving into something approaching harmony with the cosmic music. Where before, human ships had torn ugly wounds in reality, they now moved like notes in a vast symphony. Zara felt the entity's joy through their connection, as it sensed other harmonics responding to the new music from human space. Its pod family, scattered across dimensional barriers, began to sing back. For the first time since being lost, the entity was no longer alone. "Zara!" Amara's voice cut through the chamber as she ran toward her daughter, medical scanner in hand. But the reading showed something impossible. Zara's brain patterns had fundamentally changed, new neural pathways forming in real time. "It's okay, Mama," Zara said, her hand still touching the entity's talon. "I found my friend, and now we can all sing together." Over the following months, as humanity learned to integrate their new perception of reality, scientists would debate whether Zara's transformation was the result of her young brain's plasticity or something more fundamental about human potential. Children across the galaxy found it easier to adapt to the expanded consciousness, while adults struggled to rewire their established neural patterns. The entity who revealed its true name as a complex harmony that humans approximated as chorus became humanity's first alien ambassador. Through Zara's translation, it taught human scientists how to perceive the multidimensional nature of reality, leading to breakthroughs in physics that revolutionized technology. But perhaps the most profound change was in humanity's children. Born into a universe where the cosmic song was audible, they developed naturally to perceive multiple dimensions simultaneously. They became the first generation of truly galactic humans, able to communicate directly with species that existed beyond three-dimensional space. Zara grew up to become the first human harmonic, her consciousness permanently expanded by that first touch. She founded the Interdimensional Communication Institute and spent her life teaching humanity to find their place in the cosmic symphony. And sometimes, late at night, when the quantum static of civilization quieted to a whisper, sensitive humans could still hear it, the vast eternal song that connects all things, first made audible by a 7-year-old girl who wasn't afraid to touch a monster's hand and discover it had always been reaching out in friendship.